Hi, everybody. Tony Marcolini, Seamus McDonough. Welcome to It May Interest You to Know. Today, we have a very special guest with us who you'll know who's been in the world of Hollywood and been in countless movies that I could never recount or remember to be able to tell you now. Welcome, please, Joe Estevez to the podcast.
And thank you so much for inviting me on board. I'm tickled to death to be here. And it's terrific to meet you, Tony.
Likewise. Seamus tells me many nice things about you.
Yeah.
So it sounds like
they're all true, and I'm going to tell you a lot more nice things about them. But Seamus is he's a marvelous young man, and I'm honored and proud to be his friend. Good.
Takes one to know one, Joe.
There you go. We got this down pretty good, don't we? You know, before we go any further, I just, in regards to Seamus, there is, Seamus is a marvelous actor. And he did a song that Simon and Garfunkel did. And he did a talking version of it, The Boxer. And I think, Seamus, is on your website, or I don't know how people can find it. Maybe you could tell them. But that is the most beautifully performed piece of poetry. And I mean this from my heart, that I've witnessed in my life. I watched that, and I just cried. And because Seamus is of course a boxer, professional boxer, fought for the heavyweight championship of the world. And him reciting this piece was, oh my God. Anyway, Seamus, if you could tell them where they could see this, because it's just marvelous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's actually on YouTube. If you look up, I should know this. It's Seamus McDonough, which is my name, yeah. And it says The Boxer, and it comes up. It actually won since I've talked to you last year. It won a film festival a couple of years ago.
It should have. Wow.
Yeah, it won a film festival in New York. Yeah. Well,
as it should. I mean, wow. How's anything going to be better than that? Okay, enough about you. All right.
Well, if we could take you back to the early days, when did you first become interested in acting?
I've always been an actor. I mean, I can't remember not being an actor, not wanting that is my life's work. And I'm horrible at everything else. I mean, I'm terrible. I tried other things, and I can't concentrate. I try, but I give it a lick and a promise. I just don't care, So what if I missed a few screws on that? Come on. I got this scene I like to perform for you, But I just, and like Seamus, my mother's from Ireland, so I think all Irishmen are actors,
So you were bit by the acting bug from young.
Yeah, my uncle Michael Phelan was one of the charter members of the Abbey Theater, and as we were very proud of that in our house, and my mother died when I was very young at 5, and I remember her talking about him with such pride, and I think maybe that's where I got it.
Yeah. Wow.
He was also a member of the IRA, but we won't talk about that.
School plays, the whole 9 yards. Like, were you like one of the people interested in the school plays, even in high school? And
yes, yeah, I absolutely. Because as a kid, I don't say I was a loner, but in my particular high school, it was very, it was Catholic, it was private. I didn't feel really at home there until I auditioned and got the part for the play that year, and then all of a sudden I became very, very popular. I said, "Oh, this is pretty cool. I like it." you know, you know, and suddenly all the girls like me too. I said, well, all right. This worked out well. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, your brother's an actor too, right?
Yeah.
The very famous Martin Sheen. Was he
Yeah.
the same as you? Was he interested in acting at the same time you were?
Yeah. Much earlier than me, because he's older than I am, but he tells the story. The last time we were talking, that there was the Sigma Theater right down the street from us, and when he would go to those matinees on Saturday, he looked up at that big screen, and it's in his heart. He said, "Oh, that's what I meant to do. Okay, I got it now." So he was also a baby. I don't. In regards to my brother, I think I would have probably turned professional a lot earlier in my life if he weren't already a professional and already very, very successful. And there was with kids you just want to be a copycat. You just want to be like your brother, And then as, I got into my 20s, I thought, what's wrong with wanting to be like my brother? I admired him. I loved what he was doing. And so in a way, he was not him personally, but him casting his die so early to be an actor. It was a hindrance, and at the same time, it was a help. That I could see that this little, we were poor. I mean, we were dirt poor, but and that, he came out of that and became a star. And that made me realize that in my mind that I could also be a working actor, and you got to think it before you can do it, so. Yeah.
Okay, certain. What do you remember tell me about the very first time you got hired as an actor professionally?
Got hired, yeah, and that is in thanks to my brother. I did a number of, I did stage. When I got out of the Navy, I had a ready-made family. I'm sorry, I got to digress here a bit to explain that, but I got out of the Navy with a ready-made family, a wife and a daughter, and was working in a factory. And I would do the factory during the day and theater at night. And some of those theater gigs, like dinner theater and such, I got paid for, which which was terrific. So technically, that was the first time I acted for money, I guess, when I was in my early 20s. But my brother was doing a TV movie called Pretty Boy Floyd. And he asked me if I wanted to come to Hollywood to audition for it. I said, yeah, absolutely. So I was in Ohio, I flew out there, and because we're brothers and we look so much alike, and I've never really lacked for confidence as an actor, and I read for it, and I got the part, and that money from that kind of gave me my rent as far as first and last, and I was able to get a foothold in Southern California and start working as a professional actor. So, but it was wow, to be paid for something that hundreds of thousands of people would do for free. I mean, what an incredible, marvelous high that is. And it still is to me today, and same as, as an actor, I'm sure feels the same way that.
Totally. Yeah.
You get paid for something you love. It's just, boy, God is good to us,
Yeah. Yeah. I had the same experience, Joe. I felt like, my boxing career ended tragically, like most things in my life. And I got a part I got like 5 lines in a off-Broadway play at the Irish Arts Center in New York. And I thought, I'm back, and it's fascinating to me. And it was to get paid. I couldn't get paid to do something you love was amazing. So I had the same experience. Do you remember the first time we met, Joe?
That was I can't, and I'm not going to mention the woman's name because she sues everybody. But yeah, and I forget the movie. But one thing I certainly remember about that is meeting you and I wanted to be. I said I want to be this guy's friend. You know, Sam is just incredibly charismatic, and Tony, you may have to forgive me if I talk with Seamus for any length of time. I start speaking with an Irish accent, and I don't know why. I literally have to force myself not to do it. Yeah. And I tell you, because my mother's from Ireland, and there were 10 kids in our family, and I was the last. And so I had all this time with my mother while the rest of them were at school. And listening to the accent, I think the Irish accent is my natural accent, you know, because it just comes to me so easily, you know. But anyway, that's my excuse for that, Seamus. Okay,
that's okay, Joe. Right, your Irish accent is far and away the best Irish accent I've ever heard.
God bless you.
That's a play on Tom Cruise doing Far and Away. He had Far and Away the worst Irish accent ever used.
You know, I was thinking, I was thinking if the question ever arises where I'm at, I'm in this little camper that I own in an unspecified place, hiding out from the acting police because of that last movie I did. Yeah. I thought, wouldn't it be incredible if maybe there are, we don't know them yet, but if there were acting police and you know, you're just minding your own business at home and they show up at your door, Seamus McDonough, yeah, I'm sorry, sir, can you come with us? But who are you? We're the acting police, or just would you put around, put the handcuffs on you, you know?
Should have thought.
They take you out in the paddy wagon, which is Irish. In the paddy wagon with you is Joe Estevez and Martin Sheen and
just seems wrong.
That's for spending too much time alone, I think.
Well, I'll never forget it. I showed up on the movie and they said, oh, Mr. They call you Mr. on the movie, Mr. McDonough, you're sharing a trailer with Joe Estevez. I was like, that sounds so familiar to me, that name.
Yeah.
And then it was Joe, and we shared a trailer together, and it was just beautiful. It's like that's where I wanted to be, and so basically one of my first lead roles in a movie was with you, Joe. So that was quite an experience.
And you were absolutely terrific. You're what, you know, you're a natural actor, you know. I think if you ever went to acting school, please don't, you know, I think it would damage you, you know, because you just, you got the gift of gab, Seamus, and don't let anybody
shut me up.
Tell you any difference. Yeah, no, you're just marvelous. You know, and again, boy, that the boxer, that piece, I could see why they won an award. Wow. Well, anyway, enough about you.
Enough about me. Exactly.
Well, yeah.
Tell us what the creative process looks like for you. I mean, I know sometimes and I've been around enough like sets to know when there's a big crying scene coming up or a dramatic scene. Every actor has their process. Some like put the headphones on and listen to music, or go for a run, or some people can like being in the crowd. I mean, what does the creative process look like for you?
Gosh, I really don't have one. I remember this director asking me or saying to me, he said, I'm very interested in what you're going to do with this part. And I said, yeah, I am too. You know, I think acting is pretty much, it's reacting, you know, and, you know, I when I read the script a couple of times and I have a good sense of who the character is, you know, and you know, and I memorize my lines and in doing that, you know, that kind of, I think gets into my subconscious and such, but, and I don't memorize my lines really, I like to stay loose on it because film so much, they change in a heartbeat that, once you got to unmemorize them to memorize other lines. So I just show up and the scene starts and, and that's one thing I'm good at. I can concentrate. I'm there. I am in the moment. And when the other actors speak, I react. And most of the time, it works out okay. Most of the time. Yeah.
And it's funny, Joe, because I have asked the same question to Philip Seymour Hoffman and two of my favorite actors, Philip Seymour Hoffman and Jimmy Smallhorn in Ireland. And they had the exact same answer you had.
Wow. There you go.
Exact same answer. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, Tony, that this acting stuff is really blown out of proportion. I know that to me it comes very easily. I know with Seamus, it comes very easily. Getting to work, at least back in my early days, didn't come easily because it's incredibly political. And it in film, not in stage, you can't get away with anything on stage. But in film, my opinion, the most important person is the editor. And I've done movies where I thought I was brilliant. And I saw it and it was, And I saw other movies where I just didn't feel comfortable with what I did. And I saw it and I was like, oh, pretty good, So I think with film, it's so much in the hands of the editor and how he views this movie. I think the editor is most underrated art in all of movie making. But anyway, a long answer to a short question.
Great answer. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great answer. What now? You've done stage and film.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Yeah.
Where do you feel more at home?
Stage. One of the proudest things I did a play called A Short Wake, and we traveled throughout Ireland, Northern and Southern Ireland, 2-character play. It was myself and Nick Harden in a coffin, and it was about two brothers showing up for their father's wake, and I loved it. Seamus, this, that there are roles that we have, dinner roles too, that we enjoy very much, and we miss them when they're when it's over. And other roles, boy, I'm glad we're done with that. But A Short Wake was a play that I just felt simpatico with. I loved it. I think one of my proudest on stage was I reopened the Pasadena Playhouse, which I don't know, if you heard of that on the East Coast or in San Francisco, but that was the be all and end all here in Southern California for actors to do a stage play. Some of the greatest film actors went through the Pasadena Playhouse, and it closed down for about 9 years, and they reopened it. And I was in a 2-character play there, also called Echoes. So I think that as far as my proudest time on stage, though it was those 2 plays, but I've always enjoyed it. The camaraderie is, it's by the time you've opened and those fellow actors are your family. I mean, they really are, and they're just so yeah. I think the stage, yeah, and I think that film really is much more personable. It's much more personal. When I did film, I realized that you could say something with just a little movement of your eye or doing nothing. Just in listening, your mind hears it and you're reacting without knowing you're reacting. So, with film, less is more. And I always, being, a stage actor, I always try to bring myself down, Yeah.
Well, I think there's a certain electricity, right? Before an audience, anyone I've ever known who was drawn to the stage really fed off the, electricity or the energy that came off the audience.
Yeah.
Well, Seamus, I know you too. You like plays as well. You performed in front on the stage a number of times.
Would you believe that I actually prefer film? And maybe I want to get more comfortable on stage, because I'm not comfortable on stage yet, totally comfortable on stage. But I am comfortable in front of the camera. I've been in front of the camera for a long time, so maybe that's it. I just I'm bad with lines.
I hear you. Yes.
Yeah, I just am bad with lines. Some people are, some people are not. But I prefer film, and yeah.
Well, I think with the stage, and both of you correct me. I mean, the thing about the stage is I think you get your gratification immediately.
Yeah.
Right? You get it right, and you get the audience is laughing or cheering, and you don't
or booing.
I stand corrected, or booing.
Joe, I was in New York last year, and I get a call from a woman that was an actress that I knew, and she says, "Our lead dropped out of our play." I was like, "Why are you calling me?" So I went over there and I auditioned, and the woman gave me the part right away. And I quit it like 3 or 4 times in 3 weeks. 500 lines. You can't do that.
Oh my God.
So I actually had some cheat sheets on the stage, and that was actually my last experience acting, and I loved it. It was at the it was a Don Nigro played Eleonora Duse Dies in Pittsburgh. I was
my goodness. Yes.
You know that play?
Yeah, no. I'm just winging it here.
You're a good actor, Joe. I actually loved it. I had all the laugh lines and all the funny lines. That was one of my best experiences on it. Yeah, loved it. Yeah.
But it's terrifying when you're not rock solid on your lines.
Yes.
When I was a kid, I was doing The Man Who Came to Dinner, and I was playing the title role. And
great play.
Oh my God.
It was a great movie. Yeah.
Yeah, good movie. Yes. And there was about 4 lines that he says from off stage. Great dribbling cow. And every performance, I read them. I read them because that script was such an anchor. It was such and to put it down and just to go out untethered, it's terrifying. Until you get your sea legs a little bit, if I might continue that analogy. And then, okay, but to go up on your lines, it's just a short story. I was doing a play called The Butler Did It. And the first act is very much like the second act. And during the second act, all of us actors started doing the first act. And it became more and more terrifying. And the actors, one by one, started leaving the stage. And so I'm the last one on the stage. And I just got this warm feeling over myself. And it was, Joe, the absolute worst thing that could happen has happened, is happening. And you are right, you're still alive. So,
Yeah.
And I looked at the audience and I said, we'll be right back. Went back, the lights came up in about 15 seconds, went on with the play. And, but it is, I still, I don't want to do it, but there is life after that, Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us a little bit about, there's this moment in your life where something bad happen, but
Mm.
you had to step in. I think Apocalypse Now
Uh,
coming, and your brother had a heart attack, which I'm
yeah,
sure was very, upsetting, and a big momentous family event, a
yeah,
stressful family event. But they weren't quite finished with the filming and some of the voiceovers,
yeah,
and they come to you, right? Can you talk to
yeah.
us about that?
Yeah, I was doing a film at the time with Telly Savalas, and I had a run of the film part. So I wasn't eager to leave that, but it was at the shooting in that movie that Mr. Savalas could let me go. And I thought, back in the day, I mean, Apocalypse Now, that was the greatest endeavor ever attempted on screen. And to be a part of that was to be a part of history. So Mr. Savalas let me go, and I went over there. But and I know this was Seamus. I'm not speaking out of school with this, but I'm an alcoholic, and so I went over there, and I spent 3 months in the Philippines, and it was you could see me in the film if you know me, and my children can recognize me, but it was wasted on me because I was a drunk, and I didn't and if I could forward this story about a year later, my brother's in Mexico, and Francis, I call him Francis, Mr. Coppola, asked me if I could come up to Seamus' city up there in San Francisco and do the voiceover. And I said, yeah, sure. And I went up there with a broken arm, which I had broken by getting hit on a bicycle because I was drunk riding a bike. I was a mess. I was an absolute mess. But I got up there, and I was drunk, of course, when I got there. And by the time to meet Francis the next morning, I was sober, and he had just a paragraph written for me. And he said, "Here, can you do this?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." And I did it. And he said, "Oh, okay, fine. Go out and have some breakfast, and I'll write some more and come on back." And so I went out and drank some breakfast and came back. And there's some more. It went out throughout the day. It was like this until about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I was just gone. I was just gone. And there were some very intricate Vietnamese words that I just couldn't say. I just could not get my tongue around. And Francis came up to my face. I mean, up to my face. I mean, here, nose to nose. And he said, "Can't you say the words, Joe? Can't you just say the freaking words?" But he didn't say freaking. And, he was controlling that anger, but it was bubbling. Oh, my God. And I literally felt myself shrink. And that was the last day that I drank. I sobered up and have not had a drink since. So I'd like to tell him that sometime, that he was my bottom. He was my bottom. Seamus, we're actors. If we're spending a day with somebody like Coppola, we're going to at least get 2 movies out of this guy on paper before we leave. We're going to get some promises here.
Yeah.
But nothing. Not only was I wasted, my career was in the toilet. Now, am I ever gonna? No, I was just finished. And so it was then I continued. It was very plain. It was very black and white. I can continue drinking and eventually die an early death, or I can sober up. And I sobered up. So that's my long and involved history of Apocalypse Now, answering questions that you've never asked. So yeah.
Well, congratulations. To your credit, that you saw that moment as a springboard to change things for yourself, because it's really,
sure.
truly,
Sure.
truly
Yeah.
within everyone's power, I think, to make a difference in their own life,
Yeah.
to change things they're unhappy with. So I think that's to your credit, and congratulations on
Yeah,
many years of sobriety.
yeah, yeah. I think, Tony, that we all, excuse me, we all have these monumental challenges that we come in to life that we have to overcome, and we overcome one, and there's another challenge, another door opens, and in that door opening, there's challenges, is challenge there, and I think that is what life is about, and I think that's the way that that we learn through that pain in overcoming it. So I think that's, I don't want to get etherical or but I think that's why we're here in the first place, so
I
yeah.
agree. A lot of life lessons.
There you go. Yeah.
So
I love your hair, Tony, by the way. Very
thank you.
cool.
Thank
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, it's your face. It's your face. Yeah.
Thank
Wonderful.
you.
Yeah.
Well, both of you guys are, it's just so handsome. It's distracting.
maybe 20 years ago, but hey, where are you from? Not but where are you from, Tony?
Originally Brooklyn. Raised in
Wow.
Staten Island, though. Born in Brooklyn, raised in Staten Island.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's where Tony and I met. We met in Staten Island. We met in college, St. John's University.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Yeah.
But my New
yeah,
York accent was a lot worse.
Yeah. I love Staten Island. I loved taking that ferry across.
Me too. Love that.
Yeah.
And what was the
And
movie?
now I understand it's free.
Really?
Yeah. Is that right?
Working Girl. Remember Working Girl? Melanie Griffith.
Yeah.
That was She was on the ferry all the time.
On the Staten Island ferry. Yeah.
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 Oh,
Yeah.
well,
There
there's
was
a lot
like
of
a-
movies, I think.
There was just like Hoboken. There was a peacefulness once you got to Staten Island. It was like, you were mentally about as far away from Manhattan as possible.
Yeah.
And that's what I appreciated about that. I love Manhattan, but I need to find some greenery.
Yeah. I
I
had the same experience. I think traveling across water, maybe just the negative ions from the water just made us feel good.
There you go. Yeah. Good point. I'm not dishing that. That's very yeah.
Yeah, it was a great place to grow up.
Yeah. Brooklyn is so diversified. I had heard that before it united with New York, it was America's second biggest city. I mean, it's a big place.
Brooklyn is tremendous. Yes.
Yeah.
Big.
Yeah.
It's a melting pot. It's also a fun place to live. I mean, and the people there are like quintessential New Yorkers. They'll band together, in any crisis. You can get people will run from every block around to like band together to help you. On the flip side of that, they're the first ones to tell you how stupid you are.
Wow.
And come in, they're nothing if not blunt. There's something about New Yorkers that just there's no filter.
Yeah. And I'm assuming here, Tony, that you're Italian.
I am.
Yeah. And how far back does that go to when your grandparents or your parents?
My grandparents came over from Italy.
Ah, wow. So that's very cool. So you got a lot of family back there.
Sure.
Yeah. Do you capisce Italiano?
I don't.
Can you understand it though?
More so when I was young, because no one spoke it to me as the years went by. I lost it completely.
Yeah. But it has to be you have to be very proud to be an Italian,
Well, the Italians and the Irish, they get along really well.
Yeah, and intermarry a lot. Speaking of which, if you were Irish, and I think Seamus knows this, I have an Irish passport. I am considered an Irish citizen. With Ireland, if your mother, father, or grandparents are from Ireland, you're an Irish citizen.
Yes.
And so I'm very proud of that.
Yeah.
You know, when I get over there, I can get in the other line, the short line about got my passport here, you know.
Not the immigrant line, huh?
Yeah. But I think that you know, Ireland, and it still is losing so much of its population, that I think this is a way to get some folks to come back. And when I was doing short wake, before I did that, I had daydreams about maybe when I retire from acting and get my little actor's pension and my Social Security, I'll go live in Ireland and just do theater. When I was doing a short wake, when I was doing a short wake and the party afterwards, I just bought a round for the house. It cost me my whole paycheck plus my per diem. I mean, you know, it is so incredibly expensive there.
It is.
I think it's the most expensive country in all of Europe. You know,
probably,
but, yeah. But Tony, what? I had this show called All Things Catholic that I hosted, another one called Hollywood Joe. So excuse me, I can't help myself. But what part of your family from there in Italy, Tony? Do you know?
From Naples and Calabria.
So that's north?
Well, Naples is closer to the water, you know, closer to the, and Calabria is south. It's kind of not that far. It's not that far from Sicily.
Okay, yeah. So you're more Sicilian than, I don't know.
Not if you ask my family.
Oh, okay. We'll erase that. Erase that. No, I understand. There's a friendly divide there. Yeah. We'll just leave it at that. Moving on.
So talk to us about your most memorable project. Like, tell me the moment that when you look back over your career, like this just, it sticks to you. Like, this is my most memorable project for me.
Man, I did a film called High on the Hog, which I love the character. And after they made the film, they cut and they put dancing parts in it to appeal more to the younger people. But as a film actor, everything really that I wanted to, all the emotions that I had that I wanted to display, it was High on the Hog, I think, where I could tap into all those emotions in me. You know, and if I might digress, I have been thinking, you know, that acting was one of the lesser art forms, and that writing and, you know, music and singing, I thought that, but then I got to thinking about that. Maybe Tony and Seamus, you agree or disagree, but I thought all the arts tap into the emotion, and we are trying to have the people who this piece is directed to, whether through film or music or writing, we are trying to convey to them the emotion that we're experiencing. And I think that's universal. And at least in my mind, that makes me feel better about myself, because I think that, you know, we're right up there with the rest of the arts, because we deal in people's emotions, and hopefully after watching whatever we perform, maybe if they don't feel better about it, at least they've gotten some positive feedback, or at the very least something to stay away from, you know. So you know, just I when I can't sleep at night, I have these thoughts, you know?
No, it's wonderful, Joe. I'm glad you brought that up, because Tony and I took a class with a brilliant professor in St. John's called Father McCann. Changed my life. It was just and my first class was a religion class, and I took a 17th century poetry class, literature class with him, and he instilled something in me. He says the purpose of art. He used to say the purpose of art is to make us think. But my friend since has changed, and my opinion on it has also changed, that the purpose of art is to make us emote, which was what the Greeks did. They invented acting, really, you know, and was it to make us emote, because we're just so bottled up with all our emotions, and it makes us cry, laugh, rage, all of it, you know. And it was so. So yeah, exactly. So that's what I have to say.
we give people a license to tap into that emotion in themselves, you know. To see, you know, when the lights go down and big tough guys like you and I can shed a tear and wipe our eyes, you know. And I mean that we can.
Yeah.
And the whole world, this whole world is run on emotion. It's not run on any reason or common sense. It's all emotion, you know.
Yeah.
So you know.
Wow.
That's the field in which we play, you know.
Yeah. And I just I'm going to go back to that movie we did again, Joe. Also, I just and my buddy Rodney said to say hi, Rodney Kelly.
Oh, God bless Rodney. Give him a hug for me, will you? Give him a virtual hug for me. Yeah.
I will.
Right,
And my first acting job was in New York. I started acting in New York, and then I came over here and got a part over there in that movie. But it's still the career that I want. You know, I don't do much acting anymore. I'm still an actor. And I went to film school since then, which was so beneficial. I learned so much about filmmaking and producing and all that. You know, which I've done a little bit of that. And I would love to. But what have you done lately, Joe? What movies have you done lately?
What have I done lately about what?
What movies have you done?
Yeah,
because I know you're always working.
You know, I'm doing this thing next week called Breakout. I thought it was about acting. You know, I thought, okay, no, but it's Breakout. It's people breaking out of a prison, which I got to start reading the script, Seamus, because. You know, but I kind of swore off violent films. I like to do positive films and such. You know, when you become aware as an actor about the power of films, you think twice about the stuff that you want to put your name on. You know. But this film, I mean, it's, you know, but I've been working with this James Balsamo. I did about 4 movies with him, and they're horror movies that are funny, and just I love it. I don't know. Something tells me they're not going to be nominated, you know. But I just, at this stage of my life, I just want to have fun. I just want to have fun doing what I'm doing and enjoying the people that I'm working with, and just enjoying life. At this age, you know, I got nothing to hide. Can I just say something about being an actor or being a popular actor? Because I realized, I told my brother early on, and he was in my face, you know, my brother Martin, and he said, "Don't you want to be a star? Don't you want to be a star?" And I said, I just want to be a working actor. And he's a star, and I'm a working actor, you know? And I think I like that. I mean, I like that. I had a fellow tell me 20 years ago, you should do half the movies that you're doing, and you should ask for twice the money. And, you know, I just like to be asked to work, and I like the people I'm working with, and this is what I do. And I just feel like it's inappropriate to to turn something down. If I mean, the money's fair, the money's good, but that's always been my feeling about it. And I don't think I never really, in my heart, I have to say, I never really strived to be a star. I'm like that baboon. They took a baboon. This was a scientific experiment. The baboon with the brightest blue backside is the leader of the baboon tribe. And they took a regular baboon out that just had a normal blue backside. And they painted his backside bright blue. And they put him back in with the rest of the baboons. And immediately he became the leader of the baboons. And he did his job well, for foraging for food or whatever, and he did his job well. And then as the blue paint faded, the brightest, and he wasn't the brightest blue anymore, the brightest blue took over. And he was fine with that. He was fine just to, follow. And I often feel that way about myself in doing a movie. When they paint my backside bright blue, I'll stand out in front and I'll lead the pack. And I'm very comfortable to do that. And when I don't have to lead the pack anymore, I'm very comfortable just to fall back into the pack and be unnoticed. I really, I'm with my brother. There's places, he can't go into a CVS store or, but it's, I get recognized now and then, and it's fun, This guy, he can't do anything without being recognized and being, I'm sure he enjoys it, but he has no privacy anymore. He's a public figure now, so anyway.
As are his children, right? His children
Yes.
as well went into the field, Emilio Estevez, Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
They're in acting and, the household names.
Yeah. And he has two others, that Renee Estevez and Ramon Estevez, who are actors, and very low key, and, they work and they don't work, and they're, it's pretty much, but he has two sons that did incredibly well. Incredibly. And
You're a talented group. No doubt about it. As a group,
yeah. I wish that as a family we would have done more with the grace that is the blessings that we received. I think my brother did quite a bit with the blessings that he received. He's he's been arrested like 76 times or something for marching and standing up for things that he believes in, and for people and causes that he believes in. And God bless him for that, because that takes a lot of courage. No, I don't care who you are. It's no fun to be locked up in the tombs, that's a place where you don't want to be, no matter what your name is. But I'll just leave it at there.
What was he like? What was it like growing up with Martin? You two, were you close? What was it like? What was he like as a kid?
It's funny. He always went his own way, I knew him, I admired him, but I didn't really know him. And I don't think any of us, any of the, 8 brothers and a sister I have, and I don't think any of them knew him any more than I did. I think he always fixed himself outside, not that he didn't relate to the family, but he always found and this is just me talking from my perspective as the youngest in the family. My oldest brother could have a totally different feel on it, but he was easy to admire, and he was difficult to get close to. He never, we always, when we were kids, we caddied. Spring, summer, you went out and you caddied. You carried 2 bags, and we worked. I mean, when I was, in the 4th grade, I was expected to pay for my clothes and my books and, everything from caddy. And he caddied. And, I had brothers that when I was, I started caddying at 9, and brothers that would go out on a loop with me and maybe help me carry one of the bags up a steep hill or something. I never looped for him. I never looped with him. I never went out on a caddy with him. He had 2 caddies in a foursome. And he always caddied for the people, like it was a well-to-do country club, private country club. But he caddied for the cream de la cream. And I think because he was so charismatic, that they wanted him. But he always stood apart. And I don't know if he did on purpose. I don't think so. I just think that's who he was. There's a childhood picture before I was born of 8 of the kids on the back porch. And 8 of them are together, and he's over to the side, leaning on the, and I thought, wow, that's pretty symbolic that even at that age, he kind of put himself apart, And the one thing that really bothers me about that is that everybody, I'm from Ohio, and I am an Ohio State football fan, and he's not. I can't understand. I cannot fathom that. I don't know if you're a football fan, but
I'm a Jets fan.
yeah, okay.
I never get back to the Super Bowl, but I plug along every year.
Yeah, well, listen, you had Broadway Joe, so.
And then that was it. And I was listening to I was 2 or 3.
That's a lot. I mean, that's a lot, Yeah, his promise they were going to win, and he did it. I mean, that's magic. But it's little things like that. Why wasn't he an Ohio State fan? All of us were. Anyway, I'm digressing. But did we get along? Yeah, I don't think we were ever close. I think in a strange way, we're closer now. We're more our egos are not in the way of our conversation most of the time. So we can talk. He's the only brother I have left. My 7 brothers have passed. So out of 10 children, my sister and my brother Ramon left. So I think we.
I was going to say,
I'm sorry, Tony.
There's a striking family resemblance between you and he. Did all the brothers, was it one face and you kind of all had the same? So there are families like that, right? Where everybody looks alike, you can't tell them apart. Is that the case, or was it you and he in particular who resembled each other?
It's funny. Out of 10 children, 5 of us had black hair and black eyes, and the other 5 had blonde hair, brown hair, and blue eyes. And the 5 of us that are the brown-eyed, blue-eyed, brown-haired, we look alike. We're interchangeable.
Yeah. I actually worked with your brother and Charlie on a commercial in I think it was in Santa Monica or somewhere one time. I met him before I met you.
Yes.
Yes, that's right. That's how we. Yes. And I see Martin once here and there, and Charlie once in a while. But I'm closer to you, Joe.
I love you, man. I love you. Seamus, I wanted to ask you, and I'm sorry if I'm digressing. We were talking about crowds and audiences, and in particular, I want to ask you, when you fought Evander Holyfield, I mean, my God, the press, and I mean, for that night, you and he were the center of the universe. And that crowd, the boxing crowd's like no other crowd in the world. How you're fighting the heavyweight champion of the world, and that, how did that affect you? I mean, how was it negative, positive? I mean, how did that? Did it alter your fight plan? How you were gonna?
My problem was that I never really had a good trainer. So when we actually had Tommy Gallagher work the corner with us, who's a famous fighter, him with Bobby Bubero from Staten Island, Bobby Bubero and my Nick Batty, my manager who I loved. And when Tommy came into the dressing room before the fight, the cut man, he says, "What's the game plan?" And I looked at my manager, he looked at me, we had no game plan, you know, so I wasn't prepared. But I'll tell you, when the bell went, I froze.
Oh,
I completely froze.
oh.
So and it took a whole round to get that out of me. I did a little better in the second round, third round, but.
And you put him on the canvas in the fourth round.
Well, I had him on the canvas in the first round also, but it wasn't. They say it wasn't a punch. I think it was a punch though. I did some wrestling, you know, wrestle on the ground.
If you were the champion, they would have looked at it the other way.
Exactly. That's what I say, Joe. That's what I say, Joe. Yeah. But it was a great experience. It was a terrifying experience. Yeah. I thank God that by the second and third round I'd calmed down a bit. Yeah. You know, the biggest not mistake, the biggest regret I have is that I was actually resentful at my dad at the time, and he was trying to get, he was my real trainer, so he was trying to get to me before the fight. He always came to me and calmed me down, and then I went out and fought, and I saw him trying to come to me, but I was resentful of him, so I saw my managers block him from getting to talk to me. Yeah. So I didn't do anything. I just continued on into the ring, and regret that now, you know, but whatever. And so I just was too nervous. I calmed down and did okay. You know, I basically won the third round, but now he wants to fight again.
Today?
He wants to fight me. He wants to have a rematch with me.
Now? You guys are old. Oh.
I know. But probably won't happen. We'll see. I
don't know. Maybe your agents can work it out. You know.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe our agents should fight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Is that true though? He really wants to, you know.
I'm in touch with the guy from Celebrity Boxing. He was talking to me. Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Is it tempting? Is it tempting?
The money is kind of tempting.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. I don't know. I hate. I turn away during car accidents and but I don't know what the attraction is with Ray Boom Mancini, is a friend of mine, and oh my God, I used to hate to watch him fight. He'd take 4 punches, throw one. Yeah. But I mean, you fighters, I mean, there's no more of an exclusive club than you guys, you know. I mean, you guys, there's a lot of you guys experience something in your life that nobody else has privy to. You know?
I never wanted to fight, actually.
Yeah.
Never. My dad kind of pushed me to fight, made me fight. Give me no choice, actually. Yeah.
Do you find a lot of fighters are like that?
When they get really honest, like my friend Michael Bent, he didn't want to fight either. His dad pushed him to fight also. Yeah, it's like he was Jamaican. So it's like the father thing, and this is where I come to notice. I had a friend who took up boxing in his 40s, and he was a venture capitalist here for San Francisco, and great guy, good friend of mine. And he got in the ring and kept sparring. I told him, I trained him for a while. I said, no more sparring for you because it was just too much. He's in his 40s. And he got in the ring and he actually died in the ring, getting hit in the head.
Oh my God.
And my good friend Tom Daly put all in perspective by saying, yes, everyone's trying to prove something to somebody, and there's nothing to prove to anybody.
Good. That's well said. Well said.
Yeah.
Well said. And just digressing, I mean, a punch by a heavyweight fighter or a minute, will kill you.
Yeah. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you don't want to be hit anymore, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. I'm
Yeah.
actually allergic to get hit in the head.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I shared a room with Seamus up in San Jose. I don't know if you remember.
Yes. Yes, I do. I was thinking about it this morning.
Seamus about allergic. It was a big. I mean, it's a big hotel room. Big. I had
Yeah,
two
yeah.
better. And I couldn't believe Seamus put sheets all over everything. I just, yeah.
I'm allergic to carpets as well.
I tell
Dust
you.
mites. Dust mites.
Yeah. Well, I know that room was sanitized. I know that. It was great times up there, though. Great times up there in San Jose. Yeah.
Yeah, I love San Jose.
Yeah. Yeah.
Joe, if we can just ask you a couple more questions. I know
Sure.
we're getting close
I'm
to
sorry
the
I
end,
digress
so-
so much.
No,
Me
no,
too.
it's interesting. It's great.
Yeah.
But I want to, just go with a few more questions about your career. I know you did a project with John Schneider from the Dukes of Hazzard and a host of other movies. He's done a lot of Hallmark movies now too. What can you tell us a little bit about that? It was a pretty popular project. What was that like?
It was great. And John is a terrific human being, and it was a feel good. Not so much a feel good film, but the story in essence was about a young man who just appears in town, and he becomes the favor of everybody, and he sings and plays the guitar well, and is handsome and has the gift of gab and helpful to everybody. It helped out in some emergencies and such. And then, I guess the film's been out there so long, but that he was aborted, and so he disappears, and so the film, in essence, is these children that are aborted, what they could have meant and what they could have done to the world, and that was the whole purpose of the film. And I thought it was very very well done. And I played a doctor in it who was very very refined, very respected, very well to do, and I, as the doctor, had given an abortion to this young lady, and that abortion was his character in the film. And in real life, I was a raging alcoholic that had my place at the bar and was a drunk, a rummy, who they throw out at the end, and that's how the film ends. And I think it was a story how one life can change the whole world. There was a woman that testified falsely against me, and I couldn't prove her wrong, and I lost my license, everything. Yeah, that's right up there with one of the movies that was a terrific part to play, and it was fun. A great cast. Yeah. Thanks for asking.
And I know you've done some work with Adult Swim.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Yeah. This is Tim Heidecker. I tell you, I did Decker, which did very well on Adult Swim. That was the name of the series. And then we toured with Decker, 20 big cities in the United States. I almost got Seamus up there in Cincinnati or in San Francisco, but something happened. He wasn't able to attend, but toured all over the United States with On Cinema Live, On Cinema, at the Cinema Live. And I love these guys. I'm the old man of the group, I mean, we'd do a show they'd go out, I'd go to bed, you know. But just to travel with these guys and the great times that we had traveling on the road and in the bus, and you know, it was lifetime memories as an actor. And they, you know, talking about the movies on cinema, at the cinema, he does, I think he's in his 11th series now, but he did an episode, and the whole episode was reading every movie that I did. You know, that was the whole episode. And Adult Swim gave me a Lifetime Achievement Award, so which I'm very proud of. You know,
Wow.
but yeah, just good people, wacky. You know, they look at life. They just look at life from a different angle, and I admire, you know, Greg and Tim, that just take a chance and had such confidence in the kind of humor that they put out there and stayed with it. And, you know, and just found that so many people were attracted to this. And you know, I you know, in every place, you know, when I'm recognized, 4 times out of 5, it's from Adult Swim. It's from great fun. Yeah. I'm the resident old man now. I'm the old man. You know, it's like the different jobs. Some are better than others. It's like the apple. I love apple pie, and it's like the worst piece of apple pie I had. It wasn't bad, you know. So every project that I've had, it's been fun and it's been meaningful. It's been a great life. There's no, and you know, I mean, the stage plays that I did and the ones that you asked me about Doomby, I'm glad that you highlighted that, because that was a very spiritual experience for me. I think, okay, if I can, I did a show, hosted a show, and I think Seamus was one of my guests, called All Things Catholic. And I didn't, because the sales media there in New York, out of Brooklyn, was paying the freight, you know, so it was in paying for our show and paying us. But I concentrated on all these people out there that are doing such great work in the world, and they're not getting any thanks for it. And I was what motivates them, you know. And every jackman of them, every lady, every nun, every priest, every person. And it wasn't, you know, I Protestants, what, you know, it was love. And it was love. The bottom line was love. And the more that you give, the more love that you get. And we did 63 episodes for that. And I, because of that series, became, I believe, a much better human being, a more respectful of life and of people, and about the great good that is being done in this world. That people, you know, they ask, what can I do for you? What do you need? What can I help? You know, and I admire that so much. So if there's a series, really, if that, it would be that All Things Catholic. And, you know, it's on YouTube if you want to click in. All Things Catholic. Joe Estevez and my wife, Constance, was my producer. And Seamus is one of our favorite guests on the show. So, yeah.
And you always remind me, Joe, that when I'm around you and I think about what's important in life, I'm always reminded of an expression from my friend again, Tom. He says, "You can never go wrong with kindness."
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's this whole world's about love. That's the be all and end all. It's all love. It's all love, you know. And the more we tap into that in our hearts, the better we will be, and the better this planet will be. You know?
Well said. Well said. Well, okay. I know we're out of time, and I know you have something else that you have to get to, and we've already taken you well past your deadline, and I apologize for that.
Tony, I enjoyed kibitzing with you, and what do they call it now? Crack? We had some good
Have
crack.
the crack.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so thank you for that. Thank you for asking me to do the show. And Seamus, I love you.
Love you
And
too, Joe.
thank you. And Tony, anybody asks, I'm going to say, well, she's a good friend of mine now. Okay.
Thank you, Joe. I feel the exact same way. It was wonderful spending some time with you. I hope you come back. I hope you come back and visit us again and talk about, projects, anything new you're working on. I hope we'll be one of your stops to talk about it.
I would be honored. I would be honored.
Thank
God
you.
bless and take care of your pretty self. Okay.
Thanks, Joe.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you, Seamus. God bless you, Seamus. Bye-bye.
Bless you too, Joe.
Bye.